Hi everyone, this is Ben coming to you with your tip of the week. In this week's tip, we're going to cover how to hit a punch shot. Punch out shots can be very useful when we're in certain situations where we need to get out of trouble and back into play quickly. I oftentimes use this shot on the golf course, not always by choice, but it does help with my fair complexion to stay in the shade most of the day as opposed to the sunny fairway. The first and most important thing to consider when hitting a punch shot is club selection. Club selection is going to be determined by lie and how low we actually need to keep the golf ball. I have a 4, 5, and 6 iron in my golf bag that I oftentimes choose when I'm hitting a punch shot. It depends on how far I need to fly the ball, what the lie looks like, etc. Once I've assessed the lie that my ball is in and I've decided what club I think I should hit to keep it low enough to get out of the trouble, but also high enough to get it above the ground, I'm going to go ahead and focus on my setup. How do I need to set myself up and where do I need to aim myself in order to get the ball to come out of trouble? In this case, I found myself in a very familiar spot on hole number 4 in the right pine trees off of the tee. I'm going to have to keep it low enough to keep it under a pine tree and another larger tree out in front of that, but also hit it far enough to get it back out to the fairway. The lie here is pretty good. The ball's sitting up and the grass is wet with the morning dew. So I've gone ahead and selected a 4 iron in this case. Once I've made that club selection and determined how good the lie is to be able to get it out into the fairway, I'm going to try to figure out exactly how far I need to carry the ball. In this particular case, I have about maybe 150 to 180 yards that I'd like to roll the ball out into the fairway. And I'm looking at a spot directly in front of me that's about 100 yards away. That tells me exactly how far I need to carry it in order to get it out of the trouble and then let it roll to its final destination. Now's the time to focus on technique. How do I keep it low out of the rough and under the trees to get it back out into the fairway? The first thing that I'll focus on is ball position. As I move the ball position back in my stance, if I'm right-handed, that would be towards my right foot, I'll be able to keep the ball lower because as I hit the golf ball, I'll be delivering less loft to the golf ball at contact. So I'm going to put the ball towards the back of my stance. I'm going to put my weight slightly forward so that I can make sure that I drive the club down through the golf ball. And I'm going to focus on keeping the club low to the ground in the finish. I want to keep the club low because that will help the ball from climbing. I don't want the ball to come out of this lie, climb up into the air, and get up into the trees. So once we've determined how we're going to hit the shot, now it's time to execute. I'm going to put the ball towards the back of my stance with my 4 iron. I'm going to put my weight slightly forward in my stance, and I'm going to finish the club low to the ground when I get through the golf ball. I have to say though, sometimes those techniques just don't work and you just have to improvise. Just how I drew it up. This is obviously something that we don't often practice. We don't necessarily have a designated area for punch-out shots. But what you can do when you're on the golf course is focus on these techniques and you too will develop an elite punch-out game. As always, you know where to find me on Instagram at BenBostelGolf or www.benbostelgolf.com. Until next time.